So my name is Matt Bowden. I'm an ex-Royal Navy officer, and I've been with Red Penguin now for just over 6 years, and I'm now the Director of Operations at the company. My day-to-day is to run the company on behalf of the MD and the board. Engaging with the right expertise. So we have a lot of different, we're a small company, we have a lot of different contractual requirements, whether that's reviewing NDAs, reviewing business contracts, reviewing terms and conditions, but also we engage with some pretty serious companies around the world, which are global names. And of course, they're very big. We're very small, to try and get the right level of balance to engage and an understanding of our business that allows us to engage properly and understand the legal implications of all the conversations and the contracts we're looking at was really tough. I think first of all, when we began to ask hybrid and engage and understand how you guys operate, it was surprising. It almost seemed too good to be true. It seemed to be a very simple process, a very simple mechanism that allowed us to engage with a variety of sort of legal experts, but through effectively a key interlocutor, which at the moment now is Ollie. And that really appealed because it meant that it didn't matter who from my team was calling, actually they would all be able to speak to Ollie, and then either Ollie would deal with it or he would bring in other people. But also because we were talking about going on to a sort of monthly stipend, which gave us a certain number of hours, as long as we sort of tracked those hours and had an awareness of what we were needing and eating, we actually could do that on a fairly relaxed basis, which has been the case the whole way through. So hybrid, I think, are indispensable now. The great thing about the business is that we don't know what's coming in day by day. As I said, we've got global clients. We can have questions from Australia, New Zealand, the Americas, anywhere in Europe or indeed the UK. And what we find is that quite often those just land in the inbox, and they don't necessarily land in my inbox either. It allows my commercial team, who now have the faith and the trust and the understanding with Ollie, that they can lean straight into him. And what's also really great is that Ollie now understands our business a lot better, as does hybrid overall. Your marine experience wasn't extensive when you first started working with us, but actually it's great to see that the effort's been made to lean into that for us. That means that if Ollie realises something is actually bigger than maybe the commercial team have identified, he'll come straight to me and he'll highlight that to me. And so we use hybrid routinely throughout the week. I think for us, there are two things that are primarily the big pluses. The first is that actually having a specific point of contact who has the ability, and it's the same way that we operate, to reach out and pull on other expertise is really useful. So somebody who inherently understands us and the business, knows us and understands the business, and therefore is able to determine pretty quickly whether or not he can help or he needs to bring in help from elsewhere, is really good. I would also add into that the responsiveness is fantastic. It is at a level that means we can call for support with a 30-40 minute turnaround time and have no qualms at all that somebody in hybrid will answer. And it doesn't necessarily matter whether or not it's Ollie. We've had scenarios where Ollie's been away and we've not even known he's out of the office that morning, and somebody else has picked it up and responded. That's invaluable. I think the second thing for us is the billing. Because of the way the monthly process works, I know what the bill is at the end of the month. We don't have to worry about it. We review it annually with you guys. It's gone up and it's gone down depending on the draws and the veering and hauling of the contractual requirements we need on a year-by-year basis, and that's again really valuable. It means we can forecast and budget quite happily. Knowing what you're paying for your legal fees on an annual basis is really helpful. I think small companies like us will really benefit. I come back to this point about being able to budget. Budgeting when you're a small business and the cash flow goes up and down is really hard. It's quite easy to get caught out. It's quite easy for you to have predicted income that doesn't materialise, and vice versa. Income can materialise out of nowhere. If you've got a constant budget, you know what your legal fees are going to be month by month, actually by the end of the year you don't get any unnecessary surprises, and I think that's a really, really big plus. So small businesses, I think, would benefit a lot. SMEs likewise. It's difficult to find the right level of expertise that can deal with a specific business like marine law, and to have somebody who takes the time and the effort to pull into that and draw into that is really, really important. But likewise, I would also say that hybrid are clearly operating across Hampshire and supporting local businesses. So big or small, I think if you're considering a change or you're looking for something different in the way your legal services are going to be delivered, then have a conversation. I think one of the things that we really value with hybrid is the interactions we have. I mean, when it comes down to the nub of it, I've mentioned Alan earlier, the reason we engage with hybrid is because of the personalities involved. You know, we've had phone calls with Alan when he's been on a lie-low in the Mediterranean. You don't get that with AI. We are also consultants, so we're very familiar with the fact that there are increasing numbers of people using AI to become experts. They simply aren't, and we can see it on our side of the business. It's very easy for us to pick out when people are using artificial intelligence to deliver answers on submarine cable engineering. If that's easy for us to pick out, I imagine looking at it through a reverse lens from your perspective, it's exactly the same scenario. You can tell when AI has been used, and AI can point you in the right direction, but it won't give you the whole answer, it won't give you the full context. And ultimately, I think you're leaning into significant risk if you're using it to provide you with what is effectively the legal guidance upon which you're going to base your business. Yeah, there's been a real standout moment working with hybrid, which happened relatively early on in our engagement and has been replicated, but the first one was a real eye-opener. So we found ourselves, myself and the hybrid legal representative, in a conference call during lockdown, and on the other side of the conference call were a blue chip American company with 4 other lawyers, 2 of which were New York based and had been brought in specifically to attend this meeting with Red Penguin. To say that we were slightly surprised and a little bit nervous would be an understatement. But what was great was that by the end of the meeting, we had absolutely wiped the floor with them, because they hadn't understood the context, they hadn't made the effort to understand the nuances of what we were talking about and the challenges and understand why we were upset and why we were trying to represent things differently. Our lawyer had. The net result of which was that about 2/3 of the way through the meeting time, the opposition lawyers were taken aside by the client, who was one of our clients, and when they came back on camera, 2 of them were missing. The client then apologised, informed us that she absolutely understood our position, she completely got why we were challenging, and they backed down from what they were trying to achieve and they went with our solution, which was just perfect.